Hello and welcome to episode 55 of Dunk's Movie Corner or Dunk's Movie Corner Pod or podcast, whatever you want to call it. That's what this is. That's who I am. This is again a kind of a weekly recap of what I watched. If that's a TV show, limited series, mostly movies, 99% movies, whatever you want to call it. Um, and a quick little recap of and review, I'd say, of those things. And then if you're looking for something a little bit more meaty, a little more of an actual conversation of between, two people, not just me talking at you, I'd say check out the Movie Bros podcast, which is myself and my brother. Uh, yeah, I would say that's much more of an actual discussion. This is just kind of a quick little companion podcast to that. With that in mind, folks, you can listen to this podcast on Spotify. Sure. You can also find it on YouTube. Yeah. You can also reach out via Instagram at Dunk's Movie Corner Pod. From there, folks, I started my week by watching the classic film from 1968, Bullitt, starring Steve McQueen. This film is very famous for its chase scene. If you've ever heard of it, you may have probably heard of it and of that chase scene. There's not real stunt people doing it. It's really him doing it, and it's through like the streets and the crazy hills of San Francisco, and he's just absolutely ripping this this old Mustang around chasing these guys. It's pretty amazing. Uh, Otherwise, the movie's pretty fun, pretty good. I would call it a very solid 3.5 out of 5. Like, some of it, yes, has not aged well. What I like about it is a lot of it is told through looks and not, there's not a ton of, like narration or anything like that to tell you what's going on. You actually have to watch the movie, which is kind of nice. From there, I watched Be Cool. So Get Shorty, if you remember, I believe either last week or the week prior, I talked about it. It starred John Travolta leaving from being like a mobster enforcer to working in Hollywood, and that's actually a really good movie. It's him, Danny DeVito, Renee. I can't think of her name. Renee Russo. Yeah, Renee Russo. And this is sort of a sequel. I mean, he's the same character. It's 10 years later. He's going from Hollywood to the music industry. And, it's got Uma Thurman, Vince Vaughn, Cedric the Entertainer, Dwayne Johnson, Andre 3000, Steven Tyler as Steven Tyler. Um, there's tons of people in it. It's not as good, which is unfortunate. That's bound to happen with a sequel. But I will say the director, F. Gary Gray, he also did The Italian Job, which is lots of fun. He did Straight Outta Compton, which I remember seeing that. It was actually really good. So I think he has the capacity to do things that are good. It reeked of it being so clearly from like 2005, and it just wasn't. I think of other movies that came out around that time and they were good, but this is a movie about making movies, and about like Hollywood and the music industry and all that kind of stuff. And that era is just really cringy in my opinion. So I would give this maybe a 2 out of 5, I guess. From there, I found something called Phoenix, Arizona. This is on Tubi. Again, as I've said before, Tubi is kind of where Tubi's a streaming service, but it is free with ads. And it's kind of where if you have either a movie or something like that none of the other streaming services really want to pay for, they'll put it on Tubi. So you get a lot of kind of oddball stuff on there. This is very much an indie movie. Not really a ton of any like name actors. It's in Phoenix, Oregon, which is a real place, about two friends who want to, like, in the middle life crisis of, we're going to buy this bowling alley and make it in like restored, and we're going to be business owners and work for ourselves. And it's that journey. And some of that I actually really relate to, and some of it, I think the music is actually surprisingly really good, although it's really hard to find it online to listen to anywhere except for Bandcamp, I think, which is who listens to Bandcamp, which is crazy. I will say the last 20 minutes of like the actual like third act resolution, because the movie's not crazy long, which I like. I think it really fell flat. I think they could have gone a lot of different ways with it, and it just, I don't know, it just kind of fizzled for me at least. So 3 out of 5, and that, I mean, I think that's fine for me. From there, I watched Spies Like Us. This is 1985. This is a John Landis movie who you'd recognize. He's done Blues Brothers. He did Animal House. He did, man, what else is he known for? Trading Places, Three Amigos, like classic Chevy Chase. And again, this is Chevy Chase and Dan Aykroyd as like bumbling secret spies sent to Russia, really as a diversion, but they end up being like the actual spies. It's not great, I'll be honest. Like it feels like it was a SNL sketch that they're like, oh, we could just make this into an entire movie, which I don't think it needed to be. Chevy Chase is just playing Chevy Chase. Dan Aykroyd is just being Dan Aykroyd, basically the whole movie, which is sometimes fun, but you don't need 120 minutes of it. So again, I think I'm being generous with a 2.5 out of 5, but that's just me. From there, I technically rewatched because I think I've seen this, but I don't think I've seen it all the way through, and didn't remember much from it. Of the 2023 Blackberry. This is mostly true, based on a real story, that kind of thing, about the rise and definitely hard fall of the internet company that kind of came before iPhone and everything like that. And there's the main people you'd probably recognize, Jay Baruchel. He's been like the kind of like second man sidekick in a ton of movies. Glenn Howerton from Always Sunny in Philadelphia. He's played that for, like 17 years. It's really their movie. They are on the cover. I like some of the pacing in this is good. There's not a lot of fucking about time. And there's like I don't know if it's a filter or if it's just like the camera lenses they were using, but there's a certain like aesthetic. I don't know if it's the color grading, but I don't know. Either way, big fan. It kind of gives me like I bet if you liked like The Social Network, you would probably like something like this. It kind of feels very similar in that sense. Yeah, that is also I'd give it a very solid 4 out of 5. If you're expecting Dennis from Always Sunny to be screaming at people, then you are correct. There's a lot of scenes where I'm like, well, he's just Dennis with a bald cap on, but I think it works really well. Either way, from there, I went and saw, much to I mean, this was not my choice, but I'm glad I went. I went and saw Weapons, the 2025 thriller horror suspense, whatever you call it. I don't want to say too terribly much just because, yes, it did just come out. I don't want to spoil anything. It was much better than I thought it was going to be. After sitting on it, there was some bits that I think they could have just cut out. It's an interesting concept, but once the reveal is revealed, I don't think it has a ton of rewatchability. But I'm glad that the cast is the cast, because apparently it was supposed to originally be a different lead, and the supporting actor, which originally was supposed to be Pedro Pascal, because he's in fucking everything, ended up going to Josh Brolin, which I actually really appreciate. I think it suits him better. I think he's like one of the parents of one of the kids who goes missing, and there's a little gruffness, a little more like masculinity. And yes, I'm not saying Pedro Pascal is not masculine, but like he's a little more tender, and I think that's why a lot of people like him, but this was not the role for that. Yeah, I would call it a very solid, like, 4 out of 5. Again, I don't want to say too terribly much just in case people see it, and or, if I'm going to discuss this with Hayden at some point, because I know he wants to go see that, so maybe we'll have it as an episode of the Movie Bros. And then this morning, I finished up / watched something called Bottle Shock. This is from 2008. This is, again, another Tubi find. It's got Alan Rickman, Chris Pine, Bill Pullman. Yeah, it's kind of a weird, definitely indie, but like such a weird eclectic group of people. It's all about winemaking, and no, it was fun. I don't think it was amazing, but like, yeah, it was like a 3 out of 5. Like not bad. That's a fine, like a 6 out of 10 or whatever, however you want to rate it. That's fine, but yeah, I'd say if you're looking for something to watch and you're like, oh, I'll just put something on, I would put that on. I miss Alan Rickman, and it's weird to see him in a role that's not either, obviously, Snape from Harry Potter, or he was in Love Actually. I haven't seen a ton of other things he's in, so it was kind of nice to see him as something else. And that's kind of all I watched this week, folks. Sometimes, weeks are going to be more packed or less packed. Literally today, later this evening, is my first class. I'm going back to school for some certificate stuff, so I'm both excited and pretty fucking nervous about it because I haven't really done something like this in like a decade. So we'll see going forward between homework, my other 2 jobs, school, still trying to have some sort of social life. Yeah, we'll see how many movies get watched. I think that was 6 for this week, which is actually a pretty good number. I aim for like somewhere between 4 to 6. Around there would be great. Because again, I'm trying to find balance in my day. But either way, if you have watched any of those movies and you liked or didn't like them, let me know. If you have questions or comments, obviously you know where to find me. And this coming week, on the Movie Bros at least, we'll be talking about High Rise, starring Tom Hiddleston, which I know literally nothing about, which I think is going to be kind of interesting. We just saw a poster for it on, I think, HBO Max or something like that. We're like, oh, that looks interesting. So we're going to review that. So I'd say check that out. That'll be, what's today? Tuesday. We'll record that tomorrow or Thursday, and then we'll post it on Sunday. So I'd say take a look for that on Sunday. You'll also see a bonus episode from the Movie Bros this coming Thursday where we play a little movie game together. And yeah, I think that's all the things I can think of to rant and ramble at you or with you or to you about. This has been episode 55 of Dunk's Movie Corner, and I'll check you all out next week.